Hello, everybody. This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and today is my special guest. We have Tough Enough contestant, former WWE Development wrestler, former Lucha Underground wrestler, former Impact wrestler, three-time Shine champion, and current All Elite Wrestling competitor, Ivelisse. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Usta e hermosa y una luchadora impresionante.
Oh,
Did I say that right?
Thank you. Well, the first time I was like, wait, what is it there? Okay, and then, yeah.
It's been a long time since I tried any Spanish.
Thank
But
you.
I actually wrestled in Ponce a bunch of times, where you're from.
I'm sorry?
I wrestled in Ponce a bunch of times.
Oh, really? That's where I'm from. I mean, I know I get billed San Juan, but I'm technically from Ponce, but San Juan is more known, so it's fine to be billed from there. Fine.
Did you ever wrestle in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I started. I started when I was 15, going on 16. That's where I started wrestling. Probably about a year in training or whatever. I got on like TV, like from Puerto Rico, wrestling TV. And then kind of went back and forth from the two major companies throughout my time there. And then eventually came to the US, I believe it was 2008-ish.
Did you ever have pay issues with Carlos like everyone else?
No comment.
Now, you appeared on All Elite Wrestling last night and you got a big win. Could you tell us about that?
I mean, I can't put into words right now how, number one, grateful I am that, for the opportunity. Like, I know, like, who I am, what I bring to the table and everything. But the reality is that even with that, there's a lot of things that affect one's ability to obtain opportunities. And I've attempted to remain as positive as possible, navigating through that. And again, I can't say how grateful I am, number one, that it's happening. And especially too during the pandemic, which is, I not only was I not able, it affects bookings like everyone else, but also my other job was related to events as well. So that also kind of, it was, I'm just really happy. I'm really happy, number one, for the opportunity, and happy that we managed to have such an impact so far, myself and Diamante.
And for those that don't know, she won the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament last night. So that was a huge victory because they've been building that up for a long time. Are you under contract now, or is it still kind of pay per appearance type thing?
I can't say yet, or I can't say. Well, I won't comment on that, but let's just say clearly things are in a positive direction.
They're not going to have you win the tournaments and see or hear from you again. What's it like wrestling in that environment where there's no live fans? I think they're going to start doing live fans at the next tapings, but that's got to be a little bit unusual.
From these past weeks that I've been working with AEW, I've seen how seriously they take the protocols for everything that has to do with the pandemic and everything. So I'm I feel fairly confident that even though there's some people like talking negatively about that or whatever, I feel very confident with what I've seen so far that they're going to handle it in a very well manner. So,
what's been the highlight of your experiences with AEW so far?
I mean, so far everything's been great. I mean, I debuted straight on Dynamite, and we just won the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup. Like, so far it's been great, and again, can't say how grateful I am.
Your first national and international exposure, I guess, would have been your WWE Tough Enough appearances in 2011. How was the application process to get into that, and how was the experience overall?
I think I had applied to some kind of casting call thing online at that time, for WWE Tough Enough, and thankfully, like, they were interested in me from the very beginning, and I made it all the way through to being chosen. It was. Sorry, I'm trying to backtrack. Yeah, it was some casting thing online.
What was the coolest part of being on that show and participating with WWE?
In Tough Enough?
Yeah.
Well, at that time, I mean, I saw it as a huge opportunity for me, coming from nothing, from a tiny little island from the Caribbean. I saw it as a good opportunity, regardless, like how I did. Like, I knew going in that the ring was not going to be an issue for me. Like, anything related to wrestling was not going to be an issue to me. I knew that going in, anything outside of that I might not have like the best advantage. I'm not like some Olympic freaking, I wasn't some like Olympic athlete or something. Like, going into it, I knew like the other challenges where they try to push you and try to break you, everything else. Like, I knew that's where I needed to make sure that I pushed even harder. And then also it gave me a chance to learn more about like filming and how they film everything, like in TV shows, how it all works, like behind the scenes and everything like that. And I saw it too, like, even if I wouldn't win, I would still, I wanted to make sure I made an impact enough so that even if I didn't win, that I could make an impact enough to still get signed from it.
How was working in the WWE's development system after that? I think it wasn't as big as it was today now with NXT and everything, but it did exist.
I would say it was a little bit difficult to process because it was still definitely a process. It was still in transition, is what I meant. It was definitely still in transition when it came to women's wrestling. And I came in like with every intent in the world. I mean, that's how me and Paige like were pushing for the whole anti-diva thing. Like, from the get-go, that's what I wanted to try to do. Like, I mean, at first I kind of tried to play into like what they would consider a diva, like at least look-wise, because there's not really much I could do with the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I express myself. So I tried as much as possible just so that I could get my foot in the door to at least physically look sort of like a diva, or like what they would want from a diva. And then shortly after I was there, Paige came in, and it was like, oh, great, an even better opportunity to be able to like start going in that direction and keep pushing for like all these little changes. And like, she was more like the goth rock type anti-diva, and I was more like the urban street type anti-diva. And even though it was very hard navigating through all that and trying to make all these changes and everything, which ultimately led to my pushing so hard for that and fighting so hard for that, and not just that, but also like me being Hispanic, I also felt, and due to some experiences, which I don't want to get into big details from, but like, I did feel like there was a sort of race card thing. And if I would say what I experienced, it would be indefinite. But like, navigating through all those things, I at least feel a little bit good with myself that it wasn't all for nothing, because we did, I did push as much as I could, and we did manage to create something like, with the anti-diva, and at least have some kind of contribution towards those changes.
Just want to thank Maria Davis for the $15 tip, and she says, "Great shoot. Thanks for sharing your story. Have a great day." And are you surprised? I haven't really seen too many Puerto Rican divas in the WWE. Are you surprised that they didn't really run with that?
I mean, I was definitely at first, but just like as everything like kept playing out, like that's why like I almost felt like I was like losing my mind towards the end of it, because I couldn't really like process these things. Like I was told to, like, there was an instance, because I kept pushing for that, especially because I wanted to push for my Hispanic heritage as well, and especially Puerto Rican. I was even told at one point that I couldn't even dye my hair brown. Something as simple as dyeing my hair brown, because I wanted to look more like what I was trying to like represent and try to go for. Like that I couldn't dye my hair brown because I would look too Hispanic, which I never, like, hitting me with that, like for the first time in my life, like hearing that, like I was like, I didn't know there was such a thing as looking too Hispanic. So yeah, like forgot where I was going with that,
but basically they had a chance to use a Puerto Rican
exactly,
in a good position, and
for sure.
Reason they blew it.
Like it can't get any more Puerto Rican than me. It can't.
I love your knuckle tattoos, by the way. What do they say?
Oh, this one says pain, and this one says love.
I see. So your jab is the love and your cross is the pain.
Well, it was more like, at least for me, I actually got these because I feel like pain is if it's like a life cycle. I feel that pain is an emotion we're always running away from, always chasing love. So it's like a never-ending cycle that we never end. So throughout our lives, we shape who we are by this cycle of always running from pain and always chasing love. That's why
I understand you were training in MMA for a while. Obviously, wrestling overall pays better than MMA, and it looks like your wrestling career is on the rise. But how serious did you get about MMA? Because I saw one interview with you where you said you were considering having a fight.
Yeah, there was 2 times that I was literally like scheduled for a date to fight. But again, like it's so hard to juggle MMA and wrestling at the same time. Like it's like at first when I was trying to juggle it both together, like I ended up in the hospital with severe dehydration. So like I thought in my head, like I started, what was it, like in my time in Chicago, I was probably like maybe 6 years into wrestling ish, and then I started training MMA, and as I was starting to delve into MMA, then some opportunities started arising for pro wrestling, and I was like, well, I've already dedicated and invested 6 years into this, and this is something I'm just trying new. Well, what the hell? Let me at least try this opportunity and see where it takes me. And then it took me a little further, and then another seat, like the usual seesaws. And then when I hit that bottom again, I'm like, oh, maybe I should just try MMA again. And then right when I was about to do that, here comes pro wrestling again. And then another opportunity comes up, and I'm like, well, again, I've invested so many years in this, like I have to. So it just got to a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna stick to one, and this is the one I've invested in pretty much my entire life to. So but I even was thinking of doing MMA like sometime last year, as like wrestling wasn't really going in the direction that I wanted or felt that should be, or whatever. But thankfully now it's again picking up, and I'm looking forward to the opportunities that are presenting themselves right now. And again, very, very grateful for them.
Would you consider yourself more of a striker? Would you have been a submission artist, a wrestler? What would you have considered your best game in MMA?
You mean if I would have like fought?
Yes.
They really fought. I'm a natural grappler. I'm a natural wrestler. Like that's like my natural offense. But when I was training MMA, like when I was first training, like they automatically right away noticed that, and they said, "Well, that's exactly what you're not gonna do. We want you to do some stand up because." The way that they were explaining it to me was, well, if you're good at this, then work at this so that you can balance yourself and be even more lethal. So I was like, okay. And I didn't want to at all because I hated stand up. And I wonder why. It's because I sucked at it at first. But then when they started training me and everything, and the better I got and the easier it got, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not that bad. Or, oh, maybe I could be really good or whatever. So then I started working on the striking, and now it's kind of a little bit quite balanced, but still at the end of the day, overall, I'm more of a, like, just naturally a wrestler, like grappler.
And you are very well remembered for your Lucha Underground work. It kind of ended on a bit of a sour note. How was your experience overall with Lucha Underground, and did anything ever come of that class action lawsuit? I think you were involved with it as well.
Well, the only thing that came out of that situation, that legal situation, was that I finally was able to get my release. And that was it. That was its intent, to finally have that and move forward. And aside from that, I'm really grateful to have experienced, again, like, I guess absolute, like, there's no such thing as all rainbows and roses. Like, there's the good and bad of everything. I take away from Lucha Underground being, the great experience of like experiencing the temple along with the crowd, and that was itself was a great, like, experience itself, like as a performer. And also, like, they treated us very well when we were there too. Every time we were there, it was like a Hollywood set, and like stuff like that. And anything we needed, there were people, runners and stuff like there. That all those things is an experience that is the good that I take from it. And of course, I had opportunities to like have good matches. And stuff like that, and like, again, to be like the first woman to go for the championship and stuff. And I mean, like almost all major companies that I've seen, it definitely went through what I've seen all the time. In 16 years, I see it all the time. A company starts good with the best intentions, and it starts fresh and everything's great, and then all of a sudden, slowly politics take over, and it becomes just like a high school for adults again, and then all the politics and cliquey stuff starts taking over, and everything kind of starts becoming chaotic, which is kind of how it ended towards the end. Not so much in the fourth season, because in the fourth season it was more like, oh, we need to get this fourth season in and get this out of the way, and it was very quick, but definitely towards the end of season 3.
And as far as Impact goes, you made some appearances for them. How was that experience like?
The what? Sorry?
When you were working for Impact Wrestling.
For Impact, well, I really only did a dark match, and then after that I did the gut check, and then after the gut check I did the Knockouts Knockdown versus Lady Tapa, and then after that I did the World Cup. Those have been the only things that I've done for Impact. And I mean, I had good experiences. I mean, I just could never understand why absolutely nothing came from it. And again, it always comes down to politics. Only thing I would say was, I believe it might have been like maybe 2 years ago or so, where I was scheduled to do I think it was Bound for Glory or whatever, and then last minute, the night right before, like pulled out. And again, it's always politics, which whatever. But
They
moving.
also have horrible booking and horrible bookers. I'll say it so you don't have to, but they made a lot of mistakes over the years, in my opinion.
Yeah, but moving forward.
Moving forward, one girl that I know pretty well, Taylor Hendricks, that won Gut Check. I know she recently did a story on you for Fightful that came out yesterday. What's your opinion on her?
Taylor Hendricks.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with her. We've never had the chance to wrestle. I would like to. Again, I want to wrestle everyone. I want my character. I want to create those stories. I want my character to be in there with, that's what I love about wrestling, the creative process of creating a story from scratch every single time that I'm in the ring. But yeah, never had a problem with her. She's always been nice to me.
And of course, Tessa Blanchard, she went undefeated as the Impact Men's Champion. She probably has the most heat as a heel of any female in wrestling these days. We've heard great things about her and bad things about her. Have you ever had any interactions with her?
I'm just going to say that I haven't had positive ones. And I'll just say that.
Now, Luchaisto is our Great North Wrestling Women's Champion of Canada here in Canada, where we run. Did you have any experiences with her over the years? I know she's also done some work for Shine.
What? Sorry, what was? I couldn't.
Sorry, I was asking you about Luchaisto.
Uh-huh.
Did you have any experiences with her over the years? She's the champion of our company here.
I love Luchaisto. Actually, the match when she debuted, I think it was when she debuted, right? I think it was on her debut, the Shine 7. We wrestled and we had great chemistry and we killed that match. And I love working with Luchaisto. I would love to work her again anytime.
And of course, you're a 3-time Shine champion, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's one of the major female independent companies in the U.S. What are some of the highlights from your Shine matches over the years?
Highlights, like which matches are the highlights, or what?
Is there, like, overall, is there any moments or matches that stand out?
Okay. Definitely. Well, one of my first ones is actually, like I just had mentioned, is Luchaisto. One of my first ones, me working with her, was able to show Shine who I was, because they were very high on Luchaisto as well. So me going in and working with her and being able to kill that match, and I think it was like match of the year, or I don't remember very well, or a candidate for match of the year. But that's like what everyone was like talking about, match of the night, match of the year. So like then I was starting, it kind of helped me start setting the tone of who I am, what I could do in the ring, and what I bring to the table pretty much. So that was one of the first matches. And I would say with Madison Eagles, the match I had with Madison Eagles, any match that I had against Mercedes Martinez, definitely one of the most iconic would be, especially for the Shine Championship, is the 1 hour draw limit that I had with Serena Deeb. And I can't really think right now. I can't really think right now. My brain's fried.
Well, there is some good stuff for fans to look up. You've had a busy weekend. I understand you named your dog John Wick. Is that true?
No.
Okay. What is your dog's name?
No, I think what it was, because I was saying that I'm like John Wick, that I love my dog so much that I'll protect him with everything I got, like John Wick. But I actually named him Ares, like the Greek mythology god, Ares.
What did you think about John Wick 3? I loved the first two, but I thought the third one really didn't have the same as the first two, if you even saw it.
I love all of them.
Are you gonna watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3 with Keanu Reeves coming out next week?
Mm, I'm not that interested in that one though.
And I believe Thunder Rosa now is doing some work with AEW. She, of course, has competed for Combate Americas. You two would probably do some great work in the ring together. Is that someone that you might want to work with in the future, or have you worked with her yet?
Sure. Yeah, I've worked with her quite a couple of times in a tag match with Mercedes as my tag partner, her and the Twisted Sisters. And we have wrestled in singles twice. One is Cobra Moon. Oh, and also in Lucha Underground as well, in trios as well. But as in singles twice. One as Cobra Moon in Lucha Underground, and in Ladies Night Out.
How was your experiences working with AAA in Mexico? Did you ever work with AAA in Mexico?
I did. I think it was like probably by the end of 2004-ish, I think. And I mean, I don't know. I had a pretty good experience. It's just I kept hearing a lot of not so great things about like how they do things over there, and then I was like, well, I don't know. This has been a pretty alright experience for me. But then when Lucha Underground came and all this stuff happened because of the AAA getting involved and all this stuff and everything started, then I was like,
Who did you look up to growing up as a female competitor that helped inspire you to become a wrestler?
What did I see growing up?
Like, is there any particular female wrestler that kind of inspired you to become a wrestler yourself?
I always say that when it comes to wrestling and what inspired me with wrestling, it's a combination of a bunch of different people. Like I would say Steve Austin was a inspiration for me. I would say as a female, like Lita was an inspiration for me. Like there were a lot of different things about different performers, and for different reasons. Some for athletic ability, some for their promo ability, some for like there's a lot of like different little things that that had like inspired me for wrestling. But like in terms of like I've always been very like like pro like women's, I push for women equality, like respect, mutual respect, blah blah blah, credibility, respect. So with that, once I started seeing like that time frame when Lita, Trish Stratus, and Molly Holly, Jazz, like when they started like doing some good stuff, and then eventually leading to WWE having Trish Stratus and Lita like main event Raw and like things like that. Once I started seeing, oh, that is possible. Like yes, like I want to do that. I want to be part of that. I want to contribute towards all those changes of growing, like for women, like having more spotlight, having more opportunities, and like this and that. So that I would say those things inspired me.
And finally, now that you're working in AEW, if you could have one singles dream match there, who would it be against and why?
Definitely Sheeta. I guess like for character reasons, I mean the obvious reason would be because she's champ, number one. But aside from that, the another obvious reason, I absolutely love Japanese wrestling, and I feel like our styles would mesh well, which I already know they do, which just confirmed because in practice, like we just kind of rolled around and it was like super smooth, with barely much communication. So I would love for that to happen as soon as possible.
You mentioned Japan. Did you ever wrestle in Japan?
I actually did. I actually haven't. I absolutely love Japanese wrestling. I absolutely love like everything that has to do with the code of honor of wrestling and all of that. And I had some opportunities present itself, but then I got injured, and then a bunch of other stuff, and then travel issues, and it just kind of messed that up for me. But I still haven't had the chance to do that yet. But if it does present itself, I would love to.
Is there anything you want to plug here to wrap this up, where people could follow you on social media if you have a pro wrestling tees store or anything like that?
The two social media platforms that I'm most active on are Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter handle is @RealIvelisse, and my Instagram is @Ivelisse Velez.
Excellent. Well, I thank you very much for talking to us. Do you want to end this off with saying something about your tag team title victory and character, perhaps?
In terms of saying,
like, are you going after, or sorry, you won the tag team tournament. Are you going after the women's title next? What's next for you?
Oh, La Sicaria is always gunning for gold. Gold. That's got La Sicaria has on her mind 24/7, as much gold as possible. So whether it be tag team, whether it be whatever is there, whatever opportunity comes up, she's gonna take it, and she's gonna make sure that she does not go empty-handed.